Hey, welcome to the Smoke Meat Podcast. This is Brad Pittman, your host. This is our very first edition, or as you would like to church it up, it is the inaugural edition. Going to have a lot of fun. You never know what you're going to hear on here. We've got a lot of cool things planned. So hopefully you'll become a fan and subscribe to this podcast. Tonight we're going to have a very special guest. He is a full-time firefighter and paramedic, also an upstart comedian who is doing very well. We'll get to him in just a few minutes, but I got an event that I want to tell you about. It's going to be on Friday, July 26th at 9 p.m. up till about 2 in the morning at Joe's Underground in Augusta, Georgia. It's going to be at 144 8th Street. It's in the Lamar Building, downtown Augusta. Now let me tell you a little bit about Joe's. A few years ago, a buddy of mine called me and said, "Hey, we want to start doing a little bit of comedy down here at Joe's in Augusta." And I said, "Sure, okay, y'all have fun with that." And he said, "No, we want you to come headline." And I said, "Well, I'm down for that. I can do this." So I wrote a bunch of material and rehearsed diligently, and got it polished down to perfect. And if y'all believe that part, you're on crack. I wrote a lot of material, and I did rehearse, and I went down and I had a ball doing this show. It's one of the better sets I've ever done, because when I walked into this place, it felt like just walking into your buddy's house. Everybody there, instantly a friend. They treat you kind of like family when you go into Joe's. Great bartenders, great staff all around, great drink specials, great food. It's just a great place. But they're having the 80s Underground. Going to be DJ Kodak and some other guest DJs. I'm going to let them surprise you with who they are. They're going to play your favorite pop, rock, metal, R&B, rap, glam, electronic, new wave, anything from the 80s. Because let's face it, music today is not what it was in the 80s. 80s music, best music ever. I'm a child of the 80s. That was my teenage years. Loved it. I'm going to go have a ball at this thing. So once more, I'd like to thank Jeremy and the gang down there at Joe's for believing in this podcast enough to be my very first sponsor. So now let's go on ahead and get to it. We're getting to the Smoke Meat Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today with a good friend of mine, great guy. Like I say, full-time firefighter and paramedic. He's a up-and-coming comedian, and he's got to be coming up. He's about 2.5 feet tall. His name's Jesse Suggs. He's a little bit taller than that. Why don't you say hey to everybody, Jesse?
That was so mean.
I know it, but you love me.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, no. I want to thank you for having me on this on your very first episode of this podcast, doing big things.
Oh, yeah, the inaugural edition.
Inaugural.
Oh, yes, we're churching it up some.
Yeah, that's too big of a word for me to use, inaugural. I can't even say it right.
Oh, yeah.
But, again, I really appreciate you having me on here. It's been a blast so far.
Yeah. I think it's cool that it's the greatest job in the world. I get to sit and talk to people and just have a good time, Hopefully get paid for it. That would be totally awesome. But, you came to me a little while back and asked me, how do I get started in comedy? And I remember giving you some advice, and you have taken it and ran with it. Tell me how you feel about how you're doing in comedy now, how you're growing.
I feel like I could be growing a little more, and that's both on the physical level and metaphorically speaking. But I feel like I'm on track. I've done a few shows, mainly at the Laughing Skull. Really like it up there. Hopefully I'll do a show at Joe's Underground up in Augusta. I've got a few applications out there to a few comedy shows. One's in Portland. One's the Red Clay Comedy Festival in Atlanta. We just did the Peachtree Comedy Festival, which was an absolute blast. By the way,
we had a great time at that.
Yeah. But I feel like my progress has been good. I've learned a lot, mainly from you.
You poor bastard. And don't forget, we've both performed on the same stage as the Lady Chablis down in Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That we did.
Yeah. It does me a lot of good, to see you growing. I mean, nobody grows fast. I've been doing comedy for almost 30 years, and I'm still not discovered. True, I did take a 30-year break, or a 20-year break, excuse me. Not 30. Apparently I did it to study my math. And, I feel like big things are coming for both of us. By big things, I mean, like Jesse ordered some lifts from Amazon, so he's gonna grow a little bit more.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I got a good deal on him.
And bigger things for me is I've got some wings coming, so I'm gonna grow a little bit too. So.
Amazing.
So, in all seriousness, Jesse, a couple of years ago, you got something that, I didn't know you really well then, and it thoroughly impressed me. Tell us about this award that you got a couple of years ago, without going into specifics that can get you into trouble.
Yeah, I can't go into a whole lot of detail, because of HIPAA laws. But in 2017, the Georgia Public Safety Training Center in Forsyth, I received the Governor's Award for Valor. It was me and the other gentleman I received it with are the only two people on my department in our history that have ever received it. I'm extremely humbled and honored to have it. It's like I said, being up there on stage with the governor and with everybody around is extremely very humbling.
I think that's awesome. It's people don't realize what we do as far as EMS goes. I'm not on the street anymore, but at the same time, things that are normal to us that we don't think about doing, most people think we're crazy for doing, and it's just normal for us. We do this and don't think twice about it, and it's really strange because I don't see myself as a type of person who would just normally just jump into gunfire, jump into the water to save somebody, run into a burning building, but I've done those things. It's really, really weird. I think it's helped with the comedy a little bit.
Yeah, it's being in this field and seeing some of the stuff that we've seen. It's not. Yes, it helps with a little bit of the material, because some of the stuff we do see it's really funny. Like, nobody got hurt, nobody hurt, injured, died, nothing like that. But some of the situations we find ourselves in is very comical, and putting ourselves into those situations and having to get out there and help people. I think with all that, it helps being able to get up on stage and talk to a complete group of strangers and attempt to get a voluntary emotion out of them, which is laughter. But I will say this: when you get it, it is a great feeling.
It's almost like a drug. I mean, I think the job prepared me for comedy a little bit, because you have to go a little bit crazy or you'll go a lot crazy, and you have to see things in a different way. Just because if you don't find humor in things, even though it's dark humor, and most people would lock me up if they knew half the stuff that rolled through my head. It's what helps keep you sane, because you're not thinking, okay, this is a person that I'm sitting here trying to keep from dying. You're doing what you need to do, and you're hopefully doing it really well, but at the same time, you have to disassociate, and I do that by using humor. A good example, a couple of years ago, I was doing CPR, and this is terrible of me, but the guy who was across from me, we were changing out doing compressions. He was bald, and he was a lot shorter than I am, and he started compressions, and I looked down and I saw his head bobbing up and down, and the first thing that entered my mind was, hey, that's like kind of watching amputee porn. And I felt so bad, but it helped alleviate the stress.
Well, Yeah, there's been plenty of times where we've gone, emergent from, from somewhere, and we've played another one bites the dust. But and it's not that we wish any ill on anybody, because we never do. But it's most people don't understand our type of humor, and it's not because we're mean or we're arrogant, we're assholes.
Well, some of us are, but
not everybody. But it's a way to cope with it. It's a stress relief. And going back into comedy, comedy helps me deal with some of the things that I've seen, and more so the aspect of writing it. It's helped me a lot. I'd go so far as to say it's even saved my life. It's done a lot for me.
Yeah, I mean, when you sit down to write, I used to try and sit down, and I said I'm going to write 30 minutes every day, and I don't see how anybody does that. If you're not inspired, you're not inspired at the time. Yeah. There's days where I don't write anything. I may go a week or two without writing a single joke, and all of a sudden I think of something that goes down into my little notebook. I carry it around with me all the time, and I'll write short sentences in there and think, okay, I'll remember what that is later. And you look at it a couple of weeks later, and you think you're friggin' insane.
Mm-hmm.
Some examples. I looked in my notebook one day and just saw the word surf champion. I'm like, what the hell is a surf? Huh? And it took me forever to figure out the joke that went with that. But it also challenged my mind to think up, okay, you got to think up a surf champion joke so you don't feel like a total idiot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from. The same thing happens to me. I'll go a week or two without writing anything, and that's the beauty about comedy is, I mean, there's so many aspects to it. I guess if that's what you want to really call it.
Yeah, there's you'll have a lot of people try and tell you different things. You've got some people out there who say the only way to do stand up is the standard set up punch format. Where you get up there and you tell your jokes. You have other people who say you can't cuss at all, or you can't talk about this, you can't talk about that. That's going to offend somebody. And if you look at some of the videos I've done and posted over the years, I've moved everywhere. I've gone from quick one-liners to set-up punch to stories back to set-up punch. Have done totally clean before, and I actually enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. And I've done some of the raunchiest shit you've ever heard in your life, and I enjoyed that a lot too. And I'm kind of at a crossroads to where I want to do what feels normal to me. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, I don't want to offend anybody, and I figured out that's not going to happen. I'm going to offend somebody. If I haven't, I've not done my job.
Yeah, that's what comedy is about. It's offensive, and there's comedians both past and present who have been super clean, and then have been just super raunchy. But I think a good comedian can be able to traipse that fine line between like offensive enough to where they get a laugh, and just being just stupid with it.
Yeah, one of the ways that I like to write a lot is I like to get 2 or 3 people around a table, and we just talk, kind of like this, but just very random stuff, and a lot of good material comes out of that. And I may write 20 jokes that won't work for me, but they'd be perfect for one of the guys I'm writing with. A good example, a couple of years ago, my friend Chance was sitting around, we were just talking and writing, and I thought of one. I looked at him, I said, I bet Amish girls can give a mean hand job because of all the butter they churn. And that didn't work for what I was doing at the time, but it was perfect for Chance, and he killed with that line. I just love writing that way because even if somebody has some really good stuff written, you can always help punch it up.
The wienerologist joke.
Yeah, I had a neurologist at a show that we were doing, and we were rehearsing for it, and he was talking about thinking with a big head and thinking with a little head, and somebody thought that he worked on the penis. He said, no, we neurologists don't do that. And I said, well, why don't you say we neurologists are not wienerologists? And to see him get on stage and do that line and watch it kill, even though I didn't say it, I knew I wrote it, and he did it perfectly, and it was just awesome.
It's got to be a good feeling.
It's a really good feeling to help somebody out with this, And you don't have to be a 50-year-old comedian who started when they were a sperm to do this. You can, even if you've never been on stage, funny is funny. And all you got to do is just have a good time with this. There's no rules, and you may have some guidelines that'll help you get paid and help you get booked a little bit easier in some places that they can help you get paid. But I figured out I'm probably never going to be discovered and be famous. But if I can make people laugh regularly, I'm happy because that's my goal. I would love to get paid. A Corvette would be great. Or at least get my big ass into a smart car, knowing that I could test drive it and pay for it when it explodes trying to move me.
I was about to say I'm just I'm dying at the fact of imagine you in a smart car.
One day I am going to go test drive one just to watch the salesperson's face when I actually ask to do it, and I'm serious about it. Had a guy almost sell me a Miata several years ago, and for anybody that don't know me, I'm about 5'10" and almost 300 pounds, so I would just have to get up and take that thing off whenever I got to where I was going.
Just go ahead and bolt the doors.
I wouldn't have seatbelt, I'd have suspenders. I'd be wearing that car everywhere. Just get out, put it in my pocket, roll on in the house.
Yeah, just cut a hole through the roof so your head can pop out.
I'd love to see you get big enough to where you can get paid, and start making some money, get some fame. You get you a new Power Wheels.
Exactly.
That'd be awesome.
I'm gonna chrome out the wheels.
Oh yeah, a little bling bling.
Exactly. I'm gonna get like a little bicycle horn on the front, so I can holler at the ladies. Just kidding. I'm happily engaged.
Hey, save some pussy for the rest of us. Oh man, yeah. I love doing comedy, and I love making people laugh. And that's about all I got to say about that.
All right, now, pretty lady, your famous words.
I saw what you posted on Facebook a while ago, and it made me happier than finding out that every woman had two breasts. I saw the Top Gun Maverick trailer.
Yes.
Are we going?
Yes, absolutely. We need to get up a group because I have waited 32 years for this movie to come out, and I saw the trailer because one of my buddies sent me a link to it from their Twitter, and I went to Facebook. It's on Facebook. I put it up on my Facebook. I am stoked about it. I've got a little kitty jumpsuit and everything that I'm going to wear.
I was fixing to say, we both need to get some little flight suits. Well, you a little flight suit and me a big one, and some flight jackets and boots and all, and go rolling into the theater with the aviator shades and a volleyball. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Now, if the bad part is you've been waiting that long for this sequel. Mm-hmm. I saw the original in the theaters.
See, I was just born.
Shut up.
It came out like 2 or 3 months before I was born. I was born in August, and I think it came out in like May or something like that.
Man, oh man, oh man.
So tell me, how does that make you feel?
Yes, that makes me feel rather old. Speaking of old, I put my picture in that new Face app thing that everybody's going nuts about right now.
Yeah.
It didn't change. It put like 6 more gray hairs in my beard. That hurt just a little bit. That hurt a little bit. I saw your picture, It made you look like the what's his name? The guy on Orange is the New Black, Sam something, Healy. Made you look like Sam Healy from Orange is the New Black.
Well, that's not too bad. There's other people that are worse that I could be compared to.
Oh yeah. Now I clicked on the young filter, and I looked nothing at all like that when I was young. It's the best I can remember. I don't think we actually had cameras back then.
It was probably just like stone and a chisel.
Yeah. 10 types.
Yeah. Or either sending up smoke signals.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you, do you remember ever having to go on AOL to get on the internet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You've got mail.
Oh yeah.
And then it was all spam, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, and you get all these emails, these spam emails, and you're like, I don't know why they keep sending me this stuff. It's because you kept looking up porn and they track that crap.
Listen.
So,
what I do in my own house on a Tuesday night is my business, sir. I really don't appreciate you spying on me. If you're going to do it, at least let me know. I'll wear something nicer.
Hey, I had a friend of mine that came into the ER one night. I said, what's going on, man? You need to be seen. It's like, yeah, my dick's turned orange. I'm like, huh? What have you been doing? He said, I ain't done nothing. I've been sitting at the house, eating Cheetos, watching TV. It's like, I hadn't been watching porn by any chance, have you? He said, shut up. And just left. Yeah, Cheetos are the devil.
Looks like he had sex with Chester the tiger.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you gotta love
Tony the tiger. It's great!
Oh, yeah! Little Kool-Aid going on there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, I hate to be that old guy, but it seems like things back in the 70s and 80s were so much more fun and so much more gangster. I mean, you've seen Grease, I know.
It's been a while. Yeah.
I saw Grease in the theater.
Oh. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right there, Father Time.
Yeah. I may be old, but I got to see all the good bands.
Yeah.
You know, the music today, there's a couple of guys that are out there now that are kind of redeeming, at least country music for me. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it's just,
yeah.
I'm a child of the 80s. Like I said, that was my formative years.
Yeah.
That was my music. I mean, hair metal. Who didn't love Motley Crue? Def Leppard, Quiet Riot. And the bad part is, back then it was such hard music. Oh, it was just the fastest and the hardest rocking stuff in the world, which, don't get me wrong, it still rocks. But at the same time, you listen to it now and it's like just the shortest, easiest little beats, and it's not nearly as hard as we thought it was back then. It's kind of funny. So I'm wondering what people are going to think like Korn and Pantera are like 30 years from now. Are they going to be like Lawrence Welk? Who knows?
Yeah. They'll probably think the same thing, along the same mindset as, it's got just easy beats. But one of the things that really attracts people to those types of bands is mainly for their lifestyle. They wrote about the majority of them wrote about stuff that they were passionate about. Like if they wrote about it, they lived it. It wasn't, and they traveled and they worked hard for that record contract. They put in the time, they put in the work. It's not like nowadays where you can go on YouTube and put up a little video of you strumming a guitar and it goes viral and then that's it. No work, no real, nothing.
And they didn't have auto-tune, and they actually played their own instruments.
Exactly.
Auto-tune. One day I'm going to sit down and just record something, and I'm going to auto-tune it and play it for y'all. I wish I thought of it before this, but who knows? One day, and I'm going to come up with something really good. I may find an adult magazine and just read one of the articles and auto-tune the hell out of it. I think that would be phenomenal.
Story time with Brad Pittman.
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah. This is a lot of fun. I don't see how in the world people fill up 2 hours doing this. This is the props to everybody that I've been listening to, trying to learn a little bit from. Joe Rogan, Joey Diaz, Bert Kreischer, God bless y'all. I mean, y'all have got like buku podcasts out there that just keep going the limit, and it's awesome.
Yeah, the Joel Byers podcast, the Hot Breath podcast, is another good one.
Big shout out to Joel. I love listening to Hot Breath. He gives a lot of good advice, to comics who need it. I mean, there's a lot of things I still don't have a clue about, and he gets people on there that will give you some really good advice.
And his voice could put a baby to sleep.
Oh, his voice could put a lumberjack to sleep, man.
It's so nice.
It's like Freddie Mercury and an angel had a baby.
Yes.
I mean, to tell you.
Yes.
But, Joel, hopefully I'm going to get him on the podcast here soon and see if we can get some little nuggets of wisdom out of him.
That would be cool.
Oh, yeah.
He had one lady on there. I can't remember her name. She's a comedian out of Atlanta, and he was talking to her about, like when you should start considering doing comedy full time. And I can't remember everything that she said, but she gave a pretty some pretty good advice, especially to someone like me who's up and coming. And it was work on being funny first.
Yeah.
Then you can worry about getting, into booking and everything. I think that's what I've been trying to do right now, and that's why I play at the Laughing Skull so much, or go up to the Laughing Skull so much. Is I'm comfortable there. It's a good facility, or it's a good comedy club. People there are super nice. But right now I'm just working on getting comfortable on the stage and working with my material, like my little 5-minute bit on my height.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tinkering with that, but it's going places.
Yeah, it's all short jokes though.
Yeah. I love making fun of myself. So for everybody out there in fantasy land, podcast land, whatever you want to call this, for those of y'all that don't know me, I am 5 foot even, like dead on the dot, and I weigh about 170-ish pounds. I'm like the exact opposite of Brad. So I've been dealing with my height for 32 years all my life. I was born, and the doctor looked at my mom and said, "Is that it?" Yeah.
The doctor delivered him with one hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of spanking me, he just flicked me on the bottom. But so a lot of people have came up to me and are really surprised that I take a lot of the short jokes very well, and it's because I have to. I mean, what else am I gonna do? Go home and cry about it? No. I mean, I can't do that. That shit'll eat at me. So what I do, I turn something negative into a positive, and I'll roast myself on stage.
Exactly. Like, I know I'm a big guy, and I can handle some fat jokes all day long. Mm-hmm. I mean, my shadow weighs 98 pounds. I got to wake up in sections. And I love giving you short jokes to do. What was that one that I gave you about getting on the fire engine every time?
Oh, crap.
Said how you felt every time you got on the truck or to go on a call. I'll throw it out there. I said, every time you go on a call, put on your turnout gear and hop up in a fire engine, do you just feel like a Make-A-Wish kid?
That's it. It was on the tip of my tongue. Yes, yeah. That was hilarious. Yeah, you definitely gave that one to me. It's like a Make-A-Wish Foundation. Somebody can make one of their kids happy. It's hard even finding bunker gear for me. Like all the bunker gear for normal people, it has we have knee pads that are built into our pants leg. No, not with mine. They're damn shin guards. I look like a fatter version of Bend It Like Beckham on a fire scene.
Look like a Pee Wee League hockey goalie.
Exactly.
Oh man. Excuse me for coughing. I smoke like a chimney. I know I shouldn't, but oh well. That's the way it goes. I don't hardly drink anymore. I don't do drugs. As Red Fox said, I don't want to be laying on my deathbed dying of nothing. So, we got the cigarettes. We talked about comedy, being a good stress reliever. I can vouch for that because, go figure, almost 4 years ago I had 2 strokes that took me off the ambulance. And in the time that I was home from those, not being able to work anywhere, that kind of brought up a lot of old PTSD that I didn't even know I had, and it's kind of like every call we go on is a drop in the bucket because we see things that people aren't meant to see. We do stuff that people aren't meant to do. I mean, it's not normal to press down on someone where blood's spurting out and hold that spot. It's not normal to do most of the things that we even think of doing. And we just do it without thinking, and that's another drop in the bucket. And when your bucket gets full, it's over. And we lose a lot of people to that. I've had a lot of friends that have committed suicide. I take suicide attempts extremely personally because of that. Anybody out there that ever needs to talk, send me a message. Call me. I don't care what time or what you need to talk about. Call me. I don't care. I'd rather take a few minutes out of my life and talk to you than, take a few minutes out of my life after you're gone and talk about you and remember you. I'd rather remember you while you're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, when you're when you're in this field, you see a lot of bad, evil stuff, including like what you were saying, and same goes for me. If anybody out there needs to talk, I mean, just hit me up. I mean, it's again going back to what you were saying. I'd rather talk to you for a few minutes and help you than talk about you when you're not here. And one of the big things is when you're in this field, realizing that you need help. It doesn't mean you're a coward. It doesn't mean you're a pussy. Nothing like that. Everybody needs help. I mean, it's not a matter of if you need help. It's a matter of when you're going to need help when you get into this field, just because of everything that we see. And then you have that plus the injuries or medical emergencies that we ourselves experience this. I mean, it's a lot for one person to take on, but I'm kind of like you. I've had people close to me that have committed suicide, and so I take I take them very, very seriously. So the people out there who I'm not calling anybody out or anything like that, but the people who are just doing it just for attention, no matter how they're going about it. But if they're doing it for attention, I mean, I take that very, very personally.
Yeah, because it sounds kind of jaded of us to even talk about that part of it, but it's true. You have a lot of people out there who say, I've taken this, or I'm going to do this, and they are doing it for attention, but it's nothing that we can't afford to say, oh, that's just for attention. We have to treat everything, the way it is, like it's the real deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never told somebody that to their face. I mean, if they're thinking about suicide, then it's off to the hospital we go to get help. I mean, and we'll let the other professionals, take it from there.
Yeah. Well, on a brighter note, you just went on vacation, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, I did.
Went out to California.
Yeah. I went out. Me and my fiance now went into California, and then we went into Arizona.
Sweet.
Yeah, it was a good little trip.
Cool. What all did you do in California?
Well, in California, we flew into San Francisco. We rented a car, and then we drove down to a little town, to a town called Clovis, which is in the Fresno, a little suburb of Fresno. See some family that I hadn't seen in 20 years out there, and got to see them. It was a very good time. We stayed the night there, and then we went to. We drove down into Los Angeles to see one of her best friends there. He's in the movie industry, and he's the executive assistant right now.
Sweet.
To one of the big time directors. I don't want to drop any names, so I'll just say that. But he showed us around. We got to see some of the stars on the sidewalks and everything for the celebrities. That was pretty cool. Got to see the Chinese theater where they do all the movie premieres. They actually had the world premiere of the new Spider-Man movie going on, so we didn't go in there. But he took us into the Dolby Theater, which is where the Oscars are held.
Yeah.
So that was seeing that was pretty cool.
We'll be there one day.
Huh?
We'll be there one day.
Yeah. We went from there into Anaheim and stayed at a real nice Airbnb, and then went to Disneyland, which is where I popped the question.
Sweet. Well, you had to get something out of Disney because, you obviously you couldn't ride any of the cool stuff.
I just barely missed the cutoff. I just barely missed the cutoff.
Oh, man. Well, congratulations on popping the question. She did say yes, right?
Surprisingly so. I don't know why, but yeah.
Man, are you going to ask her again when she sobers up?
Yes.
Sweet.
I fully plan on that.
Sweet.
I ask her all the time, are you sure you want to do this? Are you positive? Like, you realize what you're getting into? But yeah, after we spent the day at Disneyland for her, it was for her birthday and everything, and it just all worked out. And we went from Anaheim down into Yuma, Arizona, which if you don't know where Yuma, Arizona is, it's a very, about a medium-sized population town in the northwest corner of Arizona, near about 10-15 miles from the U.S.-Mexico border.
Sweet. Did you go through Gila Bend?
I don't think so.
I went to a town in Arizona one time called Gila Bend. It's basically a gas station. Mm-hmm. And if you dig down 3 feet, you'll find hell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's definitely hot out there. But one of my best friends and his wife, they live out there, so I went out there to surprise them. And it was funny because on the way out there, we stopped in San Clemente, California to get something to eat. And this man, he pulls up the directions from San Clemente to Yuma, and he screenshots it and then puts it on the little post I made about eating at this little nice place there. Mm-hmm. And he was like, "It's only a 4-hour drive." And I was like, "Bro," but that drive though, the whole entire time, his wife knew. His wife was in on it the whole time, but the whole entire time we were sitting there just trekking along, making our way towards them, and so it was great to be able to surprise them and everything.
Cool. Yeah, I haven't been on a good vacation in a long time. I remember going on vacation when I was kids. The kids don't have the same experience as we had. Yeah, I'm kicking into old man mode again. Part of my family comes from up in North Carolina, so I had an aunt and uncle that lived in Charlotte. We would go up there every summer and stay some. And they would always take us to Carowinds. Carowinds was so great. First roller coaster I ever rode there. It was awesome. I remember going with my sister and a friend of hers, my cousins, and my sister's boyfriend went. And they had a magic shop there that had all kind of little magic stuff, little prank stuff. Me and her boyfriend bought whoopee cushions and then went out to the eating area and leaned up against the little rail fence there and inflated them and just put them behind us. And when somebody would walk by, we would just lean back and people would just look at us. And we actually made one woman drop her baby when we did it. We kind of quit doing it after that because we were getting some really nasty looks. But it was so great. We went to, I had family in the mountains up there in Avery County in Newland, North Carolina, a little bitty small town. That's where my mom's from. And we went to a place called the Land of Oz. Oh, it was so amazing. You would walk into this house and you'd go downstairs in the basement with Dorothy when they said the tornado was coming. The lights would flash, and you'd hear the wind. And you'd go out the back door, and all of a sudden you're in Oz. You've got the yellow brick road, and you walk down it with Dorothy. And you meet the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, all that good stuff, get chased by the witch. And it was so cool. we had the Tweetsie Railroad, which was an old steam engine that would ride you around the mountain some, and they had a old west town there that they would have gunfights. I think they updated it to a electric train and just put it in Atlanta. We got the train and the gunfights still. But I mean, those things were so cool. Kids don't have a lot of stuff like that today. Everything's video and electronic. These were actors that took pride in. Hey, I got shot off the roof and fell down 3 stories and didn't get killed. Stuff like that. The chick that played Dorothy took pride in playing Dorothy. Oh my God. Probably a little bit more than she should have, but it was still fun. What's the best place you remember growing up going on vacation? Don't say Uncle Touchy's house.
Main place we went to was the beach. My mother, she loved the beach, so I remember, going down to Destin. I went to Destin a few times, and just sitting out on the beach. And I had family that my grandmother and grandfather on my dad's side. When I was younger, they lived up in Maryland. We went there a couple of times to visit them, but I was so young, I don't remember it. But I do remember going and taking beach trips, at least about one every summer. And just going out there and just spending time with my family, with my family, my mom and my grandmother. My dad really wasn't ever around. That's really about the only thing I can remember. But nowadays, if when we were younger, if you went on a car ride, like a long car ride, like you didn't have no kind of entertainment.
No.
If you had the newspaper, that was it. But the only other form of entertainment you got was irritating the shit out of your sibling.
Yeah.
Either that or playing, games, I Spy or looking out the window.
Look at cars, car tags, and the color of cars, and Punch Bug, which can get you killed if you do it wrong, because you hit the wrong person playing Punch Bug, you get the shit kicked out of you.
Oh yeah, you'll get knocked through the door.
I think my favorite vacation I ever had is I had a brother who used to drive a truck, and he stopped one night in Thompson, where I'm from, and I said, "Look, I'm going out to Bakersfield. Would you like to come with me?" So I talked to my mom. She's like, "Yeah, go for it." So I got in the truck there, and we drove to California and back. And I was 16, and here's the kind of guy I was growing up. This is awesome. Not many people have ever heard this story. But we stopped in El Paso, Texas. And where we were at, you could see Mexico. Mm-hmm. And we stopped at a truck stop down there. And we were talking, and some woman ran up to the truck and gave him a big hug. And like, okay, he got out and he talked to her for a few minutes. And he said, "Well, I'm going to go in here for a few minutes. You just hang out here." And she got up in the truck. Well, long story short, I basically talked to her for about 45 minutes. And, my brother got back in the truck, and then we left, and we're going down the road. He said, "So?" I said, "Dude, the way she was acting, I think I probably could have fucked her." And didn't know that he knew this woman had arranged for that very thing to happen. And I just like, okay, this is new. But that's the kind of kid I was growing up. I was not a very successful single person. And we made it out to Bakersfield and came back, and I remember getting bottle rockets and shooting them out the window of the truck as we were going through the desert. Mm-hmm. That's real safe, but it was a lot of fun. I'm surprised I made it to this age.
Yeah, you can't beat experiences like that. I mean, it's that's what define. When you're younger, those are those defining moments that mold you into the adult that you are. If you ever have a chance to drive across country, I definitely recommend doing it. Seeing what all this country has to offer, it's a very humbling experience.
But not with kids.
No. Being trapped for like 7-8 hours at a time with kids in the car would be like my own little version of hell.
You see, I think that may be one of the reasons that I smoke, because I'm a great dad to take a trip with. Mm-hmm. You know, my dad, you didn't stop. It wasn't happening. You got in the car and left, and you got there. That was it. You didn't stop unless it was a long trip and you got to eat something. Mm-hmm. With me, we stop about every hour because I'm going to get out of the car and go smoke. If not for just a few minutes, you know, we've stopped. Yeah. And at one thing, that's great because the kids get to stretch their legs, and I get the hell out of the car for a minute. On the other hand, it takes us a lot longer to get where we're going because I stop about every hour. But the way it goes.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I can't do long car rides.
Well, you know, you get in that car seat and they strap you in, and it's just uncomfortable.
It is. The strap rubs against my neck, and because I got this big old fat neck, man, and I hate it. And then if you take the turn too sharp, the car seat, if I'm not seated in, if I'm not like secured in properly, it shifts, and it feels weird. And then if I go to take a nap and I lay my head against the side of it, if we hit a bump, my head just hits it. It's very uncomfortable. I need to upgrade it.
Oh yeah, get a Graco. They're great.
Yeah.
Hey, I just mentioned the company. Maybe they'll sponsor me.
Hey-o.
Thank you, Ed.
Them along with Gerber.
Oh, you know, I used to work with a guy who was a really old British guy. I say really old. He was probably in his mid-60s as a paramedic, which is all props to him. That's pretty damn gangster. So I'm 47, and I'm so ready to get away from medicine. And we had everybody convinced at one of the hospitals in Augusta that he was actually the Gerber baby. It used to piss him off so bad.
How'd you do that?
We just told him. Enough of us told him, and they started believing it. And it was awesome because, he would get so mad. He'd cuss at us in his British accent. I almost said he'd cuss at us in English, but that's kind of redundant. I remember we had to go out to Texas for Hurricane Dean. It was the year after Katrina. And basically we went out and stayed in a big conference bay at a Lackland Air Force Base for a week, sweating with 2,000 other medics and eating FEMA food all week long. Ugh. And don't know if any of y'all have ever had FEMA food, but it will tear your ass up.
Yeah. The military has better food than FEMA does.
And the day before we left, this Mexican restaurant down there decided to go all out, and they sent a boatload of breakfast burritos. These aren't like the fast food breakfast burritos with the powdered eggs. No, these were bona fide, hardcore, real Mexican breakfast burritos. Homemade tortillas, everything. It was amazing.
Delicious.
And my partner and him, neither one of them wanted theirs. The breakfast is my favorite meal of the day. You know, it's the most important meal of the day next to lunch and dinner and your snacks. But so I ate theirs. Basically, I had 6 of these little sticks of dynamite. Well, his ambulance broke down on the way back, so somebody stayed with it to get it fixed, and he rode back with me and my partner. And we were standing in the hallway waiting to do our paperwork to where we could leave. And they had these little cutouts with columns in front of them. And we were in the hallway, very tight, very hot little hallway. Another group from somewhere else was behind us. They were back there playing Frisbee in the hall, just being general nuisance. And I felt a little bubbling. So I kind of got behind the column that he was standing near and kind of let one of those silent ones fly a little bit. And it was bad enough to where the guys playing Frisbee just went back into the bay. It permeated the whole hallway. And I kind of snuck out behind there. I'm like, damn, dude. He's like, you bastard. That was not me. Whatever. And everybody thought that it was him. Everybody blamed him. I kept doing it to him in the truck. It was amazing. I love picking on that old guy. When we finally got to take showers there, it was about 2 days before we could take a shower, which you could imagine that was a great smelling place.
Not very ripe.
They trucked us over to the gym on this Air Force base, and I don't know how many of y'all have ever been in the military or been to the showers in a military gym, which if you hadn't been in the military, it was kind of creepy. Basically a big room with shower nozzles sticking out of the wall, and there were 8 of us in the same shower. Well, we're standing there. I finish my shower, and I just look up, see my shower head, put it on ice cold, and direct it straight at his back. And he started screaming. He turned around, and his chest hair was so white it looked like he was getting attacked by a seagull. And he was screaming at me in British. It was so beautiful. But you can't find memories like that a lot of times. I'll ramble on about this kind of stuff all day long. And it was just so much fun messing with him this whole trip. And we just got all that from the Gerber baby, talking about car seats. Mm-hmm. So imagine if we got real in depth on anything.
Oh, I think we'd scare some people away. Yeah, having being in this job and having like a partner that you can really connect with. That's a good feeling, knowing that somebody that your partner has your back, and just messing with them is even better. We have a I'm not going to call out his name, but I know a guy who left his laptop out and another person that shall be unnamed.
Does it rhyme with Missy?
No. He left his laptop out. So one of the other guys, I'm not going to say where it was left out at, but he left it out, and another guy came along and got into it, and then put penises all as his background. So, and it has his lock screen. So as soon as he opened it up, had to type in his password. Boom, it was right there. As soon as he went to his browser, as soon as he went to his homepage, boom, it was there. I'm trying to think of one of the best jokes that I've ever had played on me. I've had someone put a car seat in the driver's seat. I went in to get supplies, and I come back, and somebody literally put a booster seat in the front seat of one of the ambulances that I happen to be in.
Nice.
Oh crap!
I tell you, talking about doing that to a computer. When I worked in a small county a couple of years ago, I got a call and left my laptop sitting on the desk, and I got back and somebody had changed my background to a picture of a firefighter with a six-pack. No shirt on, by the way, but thank God he had on pants. All of my icons had been changed to shit like that. They had renamed a bunch of my programs.
Well, that takes time.
Just stuff like hotdudes.com and just you name it. It took me forever to fix this damn thing. And I think the best computer prank I ever did was we had a guy who was very skittish at a station. Mm-hmm. And he had an office, but he would never lock his office. He'd leave the door open 90% of the time when he wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And didn't password protect his computer, so we got on there. We changed his Windows password. We didn't change his Windows password. Changed his Windows startup sound to an explosion. Turned off his computer and turned his speakers up as loud as they would go. Next morning did not go well for him. He might have had to change some Huggies. I'm not sure. If he didn't, it's a miracle.
That's hilarious. You were talking about being skittish. One kind of known fact about me is I'm a skittish person. I hate being scared, and I have a feeling it's going to bite me in the ass. But I don't like being truly scared. So the way I got like that, and I'll call this guy out because he's one of my best friends, Josh. He's kind of responsible for that, because let me tell you what he would do to me as kids. We would be walking out of Walmart or just someplace in general, and we would have taken his car into town or whatever. So he would sit there, we'd walk out of wherever, and he would bolt to his car, and then he would get in his car and lock the doors. And he would just sit there and he would wait for me. And he would wait for me to come up to the door. And as soon as I get up to the door, he'd pull off and he'd leave me. And I'd sit there, I'd chase after him. So I just want to put that image, my little short ass running around like a Target Walmart, yelling at him, "Damn it, Josh! I said stop! Damn it!" And then he would stop, and I'd get up to the door, and it'd be locked. I'd be like almost trying to take the door off, and so then he'd drive off again. And that would go on. It would go on for about 10-15 minutes, and finally he would let me in the car. So, needless to say, whenever we travel together, we take my vehicle.
Nice. This sounds like you may be a candidate for a podcast I've got coming up. I want to find somewhere that is supposed to be haunted and do a ghost hunt there. But I want to take somebody that is really scared of going ghost hunting and do the podcast while we do this.
All right,
because the neat thing about recording is you never know what you're going to get, because a lot of this stuff you can't hear when we're sitting here talking. But if you go back and listen to the recording later, you'll hear all kind of crap, and it's really cool. I've had people answer direct questions where there was nobody in the room with me. It's really creepy, but it's cool at the same time. And this new equipment I got, you can actually have your headphones in and hear it real time. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah,
I definitely want to do this. I just got to find somewhere to go.
Pretty cool. It could be like a little Halloween special.
Yeah.
Let's see. Instead of trick or treat, it could be trick or try not to shit your pants.
Yeah, exactly. Trick or shit yourself.
Yeah. I'd have to carry some extra underwear with me. Because if I scream like a girl, I apologize, because it's gonna happen. It's not if, it's when it's gonna happen.
Oh, that's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I've just got to find somewhere to go. I don't know a lot of places up here. Back home, I know everywhere. We've done those places to death, no pun intended. Savannah would be fun to go to. Find a place down there. Yeah,
their little ghost tours that they do are pretty cool. They've got one where you actually ride around in a hearse. Mm-hmm. Not to stray too far from the subject, but did you see the dinosaur picture I posted a while back on Facebook? I have a thing about animatronic dinosaurs.
Say it ain't so.
Did you not see that picture?
I did not see that picture, but okay. I'm going to look now.
Can I tell the story real quick?
Oh, you have a ball.
Okay, so me and my now fiance, we went to earlier this year. We went down to Disney World, and for those of y'all who may not know Disney World, they have different areas, like you're in different parts of the world. Like you have like in a American part, then you have Asia and everything. And it's a super nice, it's a pretty cool little setup. And I can't remember which section we were in, but we went into this dinosaur ride, and the ride was actually pretty neat, if you like that type of thing. But she didn't know that I have a very immense fear of animatronic dinosaurs. I can watch movies with dinosaurs, and I'm fine. I can, like, dinosaur suits, blow up dinosaurs, and everything. That's fine. But any type of robotics you put in them, nope, I'm out. And that story comes from when I was a kid. At our local mall, they were doing like this little Jurassic Quest or some kind of dinosaur thing going on, and I was real young, about the same size I am now, and me and my mother, we were walking through JCPenney's into this open area. It wasn't necessarily the food court, but it was this open area where you go into like these different shops, you could take the escalator upstairs and everything, and all of a sudden, before we got to it, I heard a loud roar, and I looked at my mother and I said, "Nope, bah." Maybe not those exact words, but she knew where I was coming from. So, like I said, I didn't tell my fiance that. So we go and get on this ride, and I didn't think anything about it. So the whole ride is you're going back in. The scientist is sending you back in time to collect this very rare specimen of dinosaur that could, I don't know, save the world or some crap like that. So of course, you're bebopping along the ride. And I was doing fine the whole entire time, and then of course something goes wrong. So now the doc is telling now it's all dark. You've got different sound, dinosaur sounds coming, and he's telling you, get out now. And right at the end where they take your picture on the ride, it's completely dark, and then a bright light flashes, and there's a big Triceratops head leaning down, roaring at you. So the picture, for those of you who have not seen it, go to my Facebook page, and if you can find it, please find it, because it is absolutely hilarious. But it shows me in I had to be in mid-scream, holding and squeezing my my fiance's arm. Like, she came out and she was laughing and shaking her arm at the same time. And then, well, I take that back. She didn't start laughing until she saw the picture. Before that, she was wondering what the heck happened, and I explained to her, and then when she saw the picture, she immediately started laughing.
So basically, at that moment, you were the girlfriend.
Pretty much. Pretty much. She wore the pants of the relationship. Not that I wear them now, because she's the boss. But you get what I mean, though.
Oh, yeah. Never live under the illusion that you're the boss. When you finally succumb to it and figure out, okay, we're going to be fine, just listen to what she says, you'll be a lot happier.
Oh, yeah. Like right now.
I keep Mama happy.
Yeah. So, shortly after I popped the question, she immediately started planning it. Some of her family was like, "Oh, have y'all already set a date and everything?" And we were like, "We just proposed." And but I've come to the realization that this is her wedding, and I'm just supposed to show up. Yeah, which is completely fine.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the way that's going to go.
Yeah.
You're the bad thing is 90% of your wedding you're not going to remember. The only things you're going to remember are the things that are jacked up.
Yep. Yeah. If something goes wrong, you will definitely remember that, and then plus I'll probably be too hammered because
my wife planned our wedding. She did such a wonderful job. She saved so much money doing it.
Oh yeah.
She made a lot of things. She found a lot of things on sale. She did so great, and we still spent a lot of money on the wedding. But like I say, she saved us a lot of money on it, and I don't know if you were there, and I didn't know you 20 years ago. The things I can remember, my youth minister married us because I was very close to him, and during the ceremony, when it was my turn to repeat after him, he almost sounded like Forrest Gump, so I could go on ahead and remember what I had to repeat. And when he came to Jackie's turn, he sounded like he was an auctioneer in Dubai. I mean, it was just rapid fire. And she just looked at him, and it stopped him cold in his tracks, and he realized what he was doing. And another great thing is the night before, he meant to say Brad and Jackie, and he actually said the word Bracky. And he said, "Oh, that'd be terrible if I did that tomorrow." And in the middle of the wedding, he called us Bracky accidentally. And it was so awesome, just the look on her face. She never broke the smile, but it was kind of like you could see the invisible lines coming off of her because everything just... It was so great. But you're not going to remember 90% of the wedding. Yeah. But the parts that you do remember are going to be amazing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, I know you were talking about going out to Disneyland and all and getting engaged. Kind of, did she almost find you your ring?
Yeah, actually, she did. It's a pretty funny story. She almost found it on 2 occasions. The first one was when we were coming into Disneyland. The way they do their security and everything is, as soon as you park, you come, depending on where you park at, you walk a little ways, and they have the people that check your bags and everything. I had it in my little a little tactical bag. I call it my little tactical Indiana Jones
It's
bag.
a man purse.
Oh, come on.
It's a man purse.
Don't say it. Listen, calling it a tactical Indiana Jones bag makes me feel better about myself. All right. But so the little girl that was checking my bag, she was searching the compartment that it was in, and I could tell she had felt it and maybe could tell exactly what it was, because she sat there. I was sitting there looking at her, and I was like, oh God, please don't pull it out, please don't pull it out, please don't pull it out.
That's what
please.
She said.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've had to say that to many psych patients before. And she sat, I guess I could tell that as soon as she found it and realized what it was, she sat there, she looked at me, and her eyes kind of got real big, and then I just kind of cocked a little half smile, and please don't pull that out. And she just removed her hand, and zipped it up, and was like, okay, here you go. And and then the other time was when we stayed in an Airbnb while we were there, and she was reaching, she was getting something out of it.
Was she looking for tampons?
Oh God, I hope not. No, there'd be none of that in there. That is not what my tactical Indiana Jones bag is for.
Yeah.
She was looking for something, and as soon as I realized it, I snatched it out of her hand. I was like, nope, I got it.
Okay, you were probably more like Bobby Hill. That's my purse.
Yeah, it went exactly like that. It was like, I don't know you.
Did you kick her in the crotch?
No.
Good job. Engagement is still on.
Yeah. That she would have literally picked me up and dropped me, which is coincidentally not the first time that's ever happened to me by a woman.
Odd question, random question. What's the tallest woman you've ever dated?
The tallest woman I've ever dated. Give me a second here, because I'm trying to think. And there's been no, 6 foot tall, Amazon type of women. If I had to guess, maybe 5'6", 5'5", 5'6".
Damn.
Yeah. Perfect height, because the boobs are right there in your face.
It's still a beast compared to you, though. I mean, hey.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah.
And what's the shortest woman you've ever dated?
Oh, the shortest woman I've ever dated was one that was actually shorter than me.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Was she in middle school?
No, oh my God. Remember, kids, 16 will get you 20. Oh my God, I'm going to hell for that one. No, she was 4'10", 4'11".
Holy crap.
I actually think that now this was years ago, and she was actually a sweet girl, so I can't really talk bad about her. I want to say her name was Carrie or something like that. And I want to say when she drove, she had to have phone books.
Sweet.
Yeah, but because she came up, I want to say to my shoulders, so she was about 4'9", 4'10".
Holy crap! So no matter how long it lasted, it was definitely a short relationship.
Yeah. If we played a game of basketball, I'd have to put her on my shoulders.
Then the circus left town and it was over.
Yeah, sadly. Barnum and Bailey, they moved on.
Oh, man. Oh, don't mess with circus people. They'll hurt you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, can I tell the story? Now, since we're on the story of just random stuff, can I tell the story about when my ex-wife body slammed me?
I would be mad if you did not. You have my undivided attention.
All right, there, Podcast Nation. Sit back. I'm not trying to hijack your podcast. I'm sorry if I.
You're not. You have us.
So, I've been married before, and we were married for about 4 years or so, and I'm not trying to diss her or talk bad about her or anything.
Because you're scared she'll body slam your ass again.
Well, besides that, so when we were together, we had this we were renting this nice little house in Warner Robins, and for those of y'all who don't know where Warner Robins is, it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours, about hour and a half, 2 hours away from here, or south of here.
And here is Atlanta.
Huh?
And here is Atlanta.
Yeah. And so one day we had another couple over that we were friends with, and we were, grilling out, we were drinking, having a good time, and she had this Mustang at the time that she was extremely fond of.
Oh, damn, I wish I had some popcorn right now.
Yeah. Like, that was her baby, and she was extremely protective of it. So me, I had a little too much to drink, and for some reason, I went and I was gonna lean up against the car, and I guess I had leaned up a little too hard. I didn't dent it or anything like that. Well, next thing I know, she picks me up, WWE style, and DDTs me on the concrete. She body slammed me. This woman picked me up and body slammed me.
Like full on Ric Flaired your ass.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure she stood over me and was like, "Woo!" and did like his little strut and everything. And I'm pretty sure I got knocked out, because the next thing I remember, I got up off the ground. I was madder than 10,000 hells, and I ran inside crying like a bitch. And the next thing I remember, I was in the bathroom, and we had like a glass stand-up shower, and we had a little tub, and I was leaned up against the shower, and the couple that we were friends with, the female, she came in, and she starts like trying to get me to drink water. Like, she was almost like, it was like bottle feeding a little baby goat, like bah, bah, bah. And I don't remember much after that. The next thing I remember is waking up, not having a clue. Of course, I had a hangover, not having a clue what happened. And I look down at my knees, and my knees hurt so bad, and they've got like nasty abrasions on them, and they're just all red, swollen. And I remember asking my wife, or my ex-wife, like, what happened? And that's when she broke it down. And then I talked to the couple that we were friends with, and they elaborated more as to as to what had happened. So,
let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. What's that famous ring announcer?
That would be Michael Buffer.
Michael Buffer. Yeah.
That's the man who has that phrase.
Yeah. Let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, pretty sure that was playing in the background.
That is just beautiful, because I can see it happening.
Oh yeah.
But you see, in my head, I don't see normal walk in or walk out, pick Jesse up, throw him down, okay, we're going with this. No. I see Jesse all smooth and svelte in a pair of corduroy breeches and a tank top, leaning against this Mustang trying to look cool. And this woman rolling out of there in like a shiny one-piece wrestling outfit and a mask going and picking him up and just jumping and body slamming his ass across the yard. And like he says, going, woo!
Captain Insano shows no Mustang.
Exactly. Jesse waking up, running through the doggy door to get in the house, locking her ass out and huddling beside the shower because nobody will lift him into the tub. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it was. So that's a pretty accurate description of how my first marriage went. And another good description is me. Another time, I made her so mad, and it's laughable now. It is. So when I graduated paramedic school years ago, the place that she was working at, because she's a paramedic too, and the place that she was working at the time, they were on 24-hour shifts, and the shift that she was on was B shift. So the supervisor for B shift would have these Christmas parties that would kind of get out of hand, sometimes.
Haven't been there, done that.
Yeah. Well, she made the mistake of telling me. She said, "Baby, you just graduated paramedic school. You can go out and you can drink as much as you want. I'll be your DD." and just go out and have a good time. I was like, challenge accepted.
6 thimblefuls of whiskey later.
Tequila.
Ooh, the devil.
Yeah. So we get there, and she had a little 6-pack of like Jack Daniel's Hunch Punch stuff, and I had my beer, and we were having a good time, and I was loosening up, just because I knew a lot of the people there, and like I said, we had just finished paramedic school. We hadn't tested out yet, but we finished the class. Some of my classmates were there. We were just having a good time, and I had about 5 beers, and one of the ladies there had made some Washington apple stuff that was delicious, but it was super strong. I had about half a cup of that, and it's a type of drink where you got like 6 or 7 different. It looks like Kool-Aid, but it's got like 6 or 7 different liquors in it.
Yep.
I had about half a cup of that, and I went shot for shot with a tequila with a gentleman. We shall call him by his initials, TK, and he's a very old school paramedic, coolest guy in the world, coolest guy just to sit down and just
we're all like that.
Yeah, just to share stories with and everything. But I underestimated his drinking ability. Because he did very, very well. He did a lot better than me. Because I got to about 6 shots of tequila, and that was it. One of the guys from my paramedic class had to carry me out. And the girl that made the Washington apple stuff, my ex-wife, took the picture. There's a picture of me leaning up like a drunk dolphin, just leaning up, and the girl was pretending to give me a kiss. So luckily, she didn't have the Mustang, because God knows what she would have done to me then. She probably would have shot my ass. She had a little Honda Accord. And so they tossed my drunken ass in the driver's seat. And she goes back inside to tell everybody bye. Well, in that time, I guess I'd gotten sick, and I puked in the little cooler that we had our drinks in. Well, that wasn't the bad part. So apparently on the way home, I knocked it over.
Oh.
For 6 months after that, I had to hear about the smell of puke in her car. Yeah. So on the way home, I guess apparently I had crapped my pants. Not even gonna lie. And
everybody has done it or will do it.
Yeah.
No pride.
Yeah. So she, so we get home, and she gets out and she goes to unlock the door, and I did it again. So so imagine this. She was able to get me out of the car. Surprise, surprise. And she gets me into the bathtub, and she takes all my clothes off and everything, and just tosses me into the bathtub. And the only thing she did for me was she said, she said I was shaking, so she felt bad for me, so she threw some towels on me. So I was grateful for that, but I had a hangover for the next 3-4 days. It was bad. I've never drank that much since then. It was
my best throwing up story from drinking. I was very young, and I learned of a drink called a slammer. Have you ever had a slammer?
Mm-hmm.
You take a big double shot glass, you fill it half full of tequila and half full of Sprite, put a wad of cellophane over the top of it, and slam it down on a towel. And it shakes up that Sprite, and you drink it. I mean, you taste nothing. I mean, they're dangerous because you can get hammered really, really, really fast. And when I was younger, I was a power drinker anyway, so I probably had a dozen of these things at a house party a friend of mine was having. And somebody, and no, it was not me, broke the shot glass. Well, to continue to party, another guy said, I have one of those at home. I'm going to go get it. So him and his wife got in the car. I said, you want to come? I'm like, sure, I'll go. So we're riding along, and we're going from Wrightsboro Road to Augusta over somewhere on the south side. We're on Kissing Bower Road. And I opened my mouth to try to tell him he needed to pull over, sir, because I may become a little bit ill. But it just came out as, hey, across the back of his head, because I was sitting behind him, all over the car, all over the back of his head, all over me. And he immediately whipped into the parking lot of a church. It's 2:00 in the morning on a Saturday night. We're in a church parking lot covered in puke. We find the hose nozzle, or hose bib, and the hose is hooked up. We don't know where it is, so I just start pulling it. I find out later I've drugged the sprinkler all the way across the lawn of this church. Don't know if I tore up any grass or not. Don't know. But now I've got this little sprinkler, not one of the cool kinds that goes, but one of those that's got the little holes that just go straight up and down. Mm-hmm. And we're washing ourselves off in a church parking lot, middle of the night, with a sprinkler. And oddly enough, I didn't really get any on my shirt, but my pants got covered in it. And I've always been a big guy. In high school, I was 6 foot, 250 pounds. I've always been a really big guy. And he wasn't quite as large as I am. And he's like, man, we got to find you something to wear. So we got to the house, and I'll never forget these damn shorts. They were turquoise blue button-up shorts. On me, they looked like Daisy Dukes. They should have been called Boss Hogs. But hey, they buttoned. They weren't covered in puke. I was happy. Got back to the party. The party had broken up for a while because everybody was literally up and down the damn street, beating on the bushes looking for me because they didn't know I had went with them. Everybody was pissed off because they were hunting for me because I was so hammered. And finally somebody noticed the shorts, and that just brought the party right back up. Oh yeah, real quick. But that's about one of my best throwing up stories. I've got a ton of them, but that's probably the best one. And you know what's bad is I actually had those shorts for like a long time after that and would wear them. Oh yeah, I'm just that gangster. I can pull shit like that off.
Another story, man. I don't think I've ever told you this story, so this will probably be your first time for hearing this. But the best friend I was talking about earlier that we went out and saw in Yuma, he was in the Marines, and he just recently got out. But one of his first duty stations was in Yuma, and that's where he met his wife. And so he was getting sent off to Afghanistan, and so I had flown out there to see him before he left. And they were throwing his wife and her family and everybody. They were throwing a big party for big going away party for him. Well, of course, same situation as before. I had a little too much to drink, and so his wife's sister had this thing called a squirt and Sprite, which was delicious. And I asked her, I said, "Hey, can I try yours?" She said, "Yeah." I was like, "Man, that's delicious. Can you make one?" She's like, "Yeah." So she makes me one. I'm sitting there, I'm sipping on it and everything, and I had just a little too much to drink, and they had a big F-250, I think it was an F-250 work truck at the time, and I had passed out there. Now, he's always watched out for me, ever since day one, and one of the rules is that if you pass out, you have to leave your shoes off. Because if you have your shoes on, you're fair game. But if you have them off, then nobody messes with you. So, being the good guy that he is, he takes my shoes off for me and gives me a Bud Light Bud Light box to use as a pillow. And her family, her uncle and her dad are super cool people, but they're like traditional bikers. Mm-hmm. And like I said, they're all, her side of the family is just freaking awesome. I love them to death. Her uncle, who to this day, I still have not met this man. He saw me, thought I was a leprechaun, jumped up into the back of the truck, licked the side of my face, ran away, and said, "I've stolen the leprechaun's tears." I remember nothing about that. I've never met the man. I've never talked to the man before. But on the way home, when we got in, when we got back to their place, I was in the bed of the truck, and I got sick. And or no, we may have still been at the party. And anyway, I threw up on the side of the truck. Oh. And so there's a picture of me in like mid puke, like you can see it like coming out here, like it's horrible. And she got so mad at me. So they tossed me in their bedroom. Now keep in mind, I'm an EMT. I think it was an EMT. I was on the fire department. I had medical training, and I was they tossed me in their little guest bedroom, and I told him, I said, dude, call me an ambulance. He was like, no, I'm not calling you an ambulance. And I was like, please, I'm too drunk. And he was like, dude, you're fine. Go to sleep. I'm not calling you an ambulance. I was like, check my pulse. And he was like, how fast is it supposed to be? I was like, between 60 and 120. He goes, you're fine. Go to bed. And needless to say, his wife made me clean the truck.
Well, I'm not really a betting man, but I would put everything I own on the fact that you will never meet this uncle, because I've known a lot of bikers, and I don't know many that have come back and meet the guy who they thought they licked the leprechaun's tears.
Yeah.
Pretty sure you're never going to meet the guy that licked your face.
Yeah, they still talk about it to this day, but I still have yet to meet. I mean, to meet him. You know, if you're going to look inside of my face, I'd at least like to meet you.
You're never going to meet him.
And there's no pictures. Nobody got a picture or anything.
I'm pretty tight with you. I feel like we're good friends, and I've never once wanted to lick your face. And I'm pretty sure you're happy with that. And you're fine with that. I'm good with it too.
I got a baby smooth face.
Oh yeah. Now I ain't gonna say I've never wanted to. I fought the urge. I mean, who hadn't wanted to? It's only natural.
I mean, yeah.
But yeah.
You're lost. I give you the opportunity.
Oh man. Well, let's wrap this thing up. We've gone for almost 2 hours.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
For your first ever podcast, I'm so excited to see where this thing is going to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to thank Jesse for coming out today and doing this. She's coming out and jabbering, been in class all day. Want to thank Jeremy at Joe's Underground for believing in this enough to sponsor it. Y'all make sure y'all go down there. It's in the bottom of the Lamar building, down a little set of stairs beside the building. Great place. It's my home club. I've always felt so comfortable there. Was actually on stage a week after the Strokes, and had a stutter and actually got on stage there. And everybody made me feel so good. I didn't last long because I was real self-conscious about it, but nobody made me feel bad about being on stage sounding like a broken record. And it was so cool. I love that place. You know, anybody can play a little hole in the wall. When I go to Joe's, I'm playing a hole in the ground, and it's a great one. And that's going to be it for the Smoking Meat Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jesse.
And we have had a great time talking to y'all tonight. Keep listening, subscribe. Let's make this thing huge. We're out.